What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. We have got a great one lined up for you today. CZ and Binance paying the U.S. government $4 billion to avoid or to get out of the criminal investigation. Man, that's, I wish they could pay me $4 billion and I'll stop investigating them as well. Also, Bitcoin is climbing. We're flirting with that 37.8 level, but could we be seeing a $40,000 Bitcoin coming very soon? We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more in the video, so do not go anywhere. We say this all the time. You don't have to smash the like button yet. You are welcome to smash the like button, though. We really appreciate when you smash the like button, but we have not done anything to earn that like button yet, and we are all about earning it here at Investing Bros. So you just strap on in and wait. Give us a couple minutes, and I'm feeling like you're gonna click that like button. I think today we could get to over 100 likes before we're done being live. What do you think about that, T-Shroom?
I think that would be much more likes than we deserve. Tim.
Yeah, you thought I was going to ask you something else, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you today.
Okay. That's all right. That's okay. I'll get along to get along. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, bros. It's a real pleasure. It's an honor for you to tune in to the 3 p.m. show. Here we are. We've been waiting for it all morning. I know I was. I've got a great quote of the day here from the winner-in-chief down in Argentina. He said, the Bitcoin is the natural reaction against the central bankers, scammers, and to make the money private again. You got to work with the translation there, guys. It's from Spanish to English, but the big point here is circled in pink, which is very appropriate. Yeah. Make the money private again. You got to love it. Tim, what do you think about that statement?
It's great. I mean, that whole, I mean, he has, I don't know if I was listening to that exact interview, but he talks about how money was, it was made for the private because ultimately it's the only thing that could allow us to continue to transact things. Whereas before, like they used to trade like sheep and horses and cattle and then fields and stuff. Yeah. Like what is a poor person with none of that supposed to do? How are they supposed to buy their goods and services? So money, the origin of money was made for us lowly individual people. It was made for us, and now the wealthy and the elite, they just took it back. And you know what? I agree with Javier. It is time for us lowly, normal people to reprivatize money, and Bitcoin and crypto is the way to do it. You know what, T-Shirt? It feels wrong to start the show off. How are you doing today? I'm so sorry. I should have asked you in the first place. How are you doing today?
Better than I deserved, Tim.
That's good. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, I was getting a little anxious, wondering if you were better than you deserve. So that's why I had to go ahead.
And now we know. Now we know.
Good stuff. Well, you know what, T-Shroom? It's been a little minute since I was out last week for Friday, so I didn't get to be on the Friday show. We, of course, didn't have our Saturday show either. I did, before we get into crypto, I got to go up to my homeland, Virginia. We went to the Virginia Tech home game. We did not bring home the W, but it was an entertaining game. It was fun to be with some friends. Brody got to see his first Hokie game. The weather was beautiful. Blacksburg, Virginia is still, in my opinion, the most beautiful place in the world. I have not been everywhere, though, so to be fair, that's going to have to fly by there. But it was a fun weekend, but I'm very glad coming back to crypto pumping. And let's go ahead and dive on in. Let's get some charts out of the way, and then we'll earn some likes, and then we'll get into some stories. We have some trivia as normal. Last week, T-Shirt, there was somebody who did not like our trivia. They said, can you guys just stick to crypto and not do any trivia?
Really?
And yeah, I was very surprised. It hurt my feelings a little bit.
To that I say, we'll take it under consideration.
We will. We'll consider it while we do trivia. Let's go ahead and look at the Bitcoin chart here, guys, on the daily chart. Love seeing it. I had a video this morning that's not getting that much love. You guys got to go watch my video. It was a good video. My first video back after a long weekend. I still woke up at 6 a.m. to make that video for you guys. Go give it a view. Smash the like. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already as well. Not for this show. Do it for the morning video after you're done with this show. Like this one as well. But we talked about how the daily chart, I really do like what we're seeing on the daily chart with this reload. Yes, we had some overextended options here more recently. But I really like how we've regrouped. RSI came back down below 70. Now we're kind of ticking back up there today as we're rallying. But the chart prime oscillator is, of course, moving to the downside, starting to go back up to the upside. But look at this. I mean, this daily close is higher than back here when we had these peak seekers and the bearish divergence. It's not quite as high as we had back here on the 15th, but Right now, if we were to close right this second, we'd be at 37,600. Not too bad. And yet the RSI, the chart prime oscillator, they are low. To me, this is a very bullish thing. Of course, when I look at the Market Oracle Pro, we're still hovering heavily in the pink there on the reversal band. But you know what? During these trends, this thing kind of happens. We when we're bullish, you do get a little bit testy of the boundaries. I have to go to a different chart completely to show you guys because that chart doesn't go back that far. Look what we do back here. You guys can see back in 2019, we compare this all the time. Overextended, kind of trade sideways, get overextended, trade sideways, get overextended. We were overextended pretty much all summer. Up into July there in 2019. So to me, when some people are seeing that and saying, hey, we have to reverse, I'm not saying we're going to mimic 2019 perfectly, but I think there's some similarities. And that does prove just because you get overextended does not mean price needs to crash. My brain, I think I need to drink more water because I must still be tired because I'm mixing some words together here.
You got to take a moment for hydration.
There's no alcohol. This is a cup that was given to me when I was became a father. That's the correct spelling of Brody, right there. I'm his daddy. So there's no alcohol in here. There is actually electrolytes, and they're very good for me.
That's really good, Tim. And that was a pro sip to buy the pro dip.
And I got some ice cubes in there as well.
Not a pro move for someone who's on a live show.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go back to Bitcoin. All right, so we're going to go back to the normal chart. So overall, overwhelmingly right now, guys, I'm really liking what we're seeing with Bitcoin. I still see a higher leg coming to the upside. Of course, you guys know I'm still keeping my eye on a potential bull flag opportunity here all the way from these lows, potentially to take us up here into the mid 40s, up here towards $47,000. Now, pause real quick, and we're getting all over the place, and we're going to keep talking. There's some altcoins we got to take a look at that are not doing as swimmingly as Bitcoin. But T-Shroom, what do you think of my new chart? I thought this week, and I was just like, you know what? It's time for a change. It's time to change up the candles and go with the Investing Bros colors. Thought it was a cool move. Just in case you guys are concerned, the white candles are the former green candles. Those are bullish. And even though blue is a positive color, those are my red candles and my negative colors. My thought was this is a very just optimistic looking chart. It's very sleek and dynamic. It's cool. But yeah, white, good, blue, bad. But it is the Investing Bros colors. T-shirt, real quickly, give me some feedback. Like, dislike.
I think it looks cool. I feel like I'm in like a 8-bit ice cave or something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Very nice. Yeah.
That's my feedback.
Yeah, it helps. It helps. The other thing we're doing right now, guys, is we're continuing to trade. I went down the lower time frame. Let's go back up. We're continuing to trade right below this blue spotted line. This is the line that has a lot of significance going all the way to 2017, back in August. So very important level that I do think we're going to break above. But in the off chance we can't, in the off chance that the bears continue to defend the line, keep your eyes on that because there is a falling wedge pattern that could send us pretty low. I mean, if we were to just have a pour to the downside, right? We could break below 31,000 and can still hit that line somewhere closer towards 28. Realistically, though, I think the next move for the bears, if they make a move, it's going to be interesting to see what they do around 32, 31,000, of course, that being the former resistance level of the past two peaks. But as it stands right now, guys, still super, super bullish. As long as we're staying within this rising trading channel, which is the flag portion of the bull flag, you gotta still stay optimistic here. Let's check in real quickly before we move to other coins, though. Bitcoin, sometimes the TA seems a little tedious. When you get into these kind of boring moves, it gets tedious. What's crazy is this boring move is still an upward tick. We're still setting these higher highs and higher lows the entire time. So let's take a look at liquidations. This is one of my new favorite things to take a look at. This morning, we did actually hit, I talked about it in this morning video. If you guys had watched it, you would have been prepared. We hit both of my levels. The first one, we came all the way down here. I said, watch out for 36,700. Well, we wicked a little bit lower than that, but ultimately hit that spot. And then almost immediately within the next like hour, we shot up to my next spot, 37,500. And right now we're working. Can we go ahead and work to take out that 37,900? We've been close. We've gotten up here in the last little bit, up towards 37,700. We pretty much, if we hit that, we're pretty much going to hit 38,000. So are we going to triple top, or are we going to break all the way through? I lean towards, if we go back to 38,000, I'm leaning towards a breakthrough, but keep your eyes on this as well. This liquidation chart, again, is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect, but it is very good. Now, let's go all the way out to the weekly chart to take a look at some larger time frames. While I am keeping my eyes on some higher levels, there's even one up here towards 38.3 that looks really interesting. It's not the weekly chart. I mean, you're seeing a little bit of yellow down here, but when the bears do come back into control, whether that is right now or whether that is after we hit 40,000 or 42,000 or 45,000 or even 55,000, 50,000, I don't know, 55 is a little high for me. Keep your eyes here on 34,000. 34, of course, we have a lot of liquidity down there. A lot of people thought we were going to make that move this weekend. We actually did the exact opposite. Went back to the upside, but there is still a lot of liquidity sitting down there. Guys, I am still convinced that we are going to see price come back to the downside. Let's go all the way. Let's see what the 6 month. I haven't even looked at this one yet. You guys are going to look at it with me live. It's not overwhelming. You're going to see, 34,000. You have some nice ones. There is some all the way down here at 25.6. I could have sworn, though, that at one point I was looking, we had some good liquidity up towards 27, 28, but maybe I was wrong. Let's give it one more look here. No, I mean, overwhelmingly 3 month, it likes all the way down here at 26,000. Am I convinced we have to go that far? Not necessarily, but it is interesting to look at those numbers and know that those are in the cards. There is liquidity all the way down at those levels. Of course, you guys know my theory, my thoughts, my idea about what Bitcoin price is about to do. I think we're going to get another leg to the upside. I think we're going to break above 40,000. I think there's a decent chance we make it up here towards 46,000, maybe push towards 47,000. And then there's an outside chance. Let me make this hit the exact bottom here. There's an outside chance we do make that move all the way back up to the platinum pocket and hit $50,000. However, I still believe there's going to be a FUD type of a catalyst. I mean, today, even on Twitter, I posted the video on Twitter as well, and people were saying, "Oh, Tim, like if you think that we're going to go down to 27,000, if you want to know why I'm saying 27,000, you got to go watch the video. If you think that we're going to 27,000, you're anticipating some sort of black swan event. No, I'm not anticipating a black swan event. I'm anticipating a FUD story. Black swan events." They literally come from out of nowhere. People have no idea they're coming, and then they devastate the market. What I'm talking about is a potentially predictable yet unlikely story that at the right opportune time ends up hitting the headlines. And to me, I think at this point, the most reasonable event that could see Bitcoin's price crash from all the way, if we made it up here to 50,000 and repeat what we did back in 2019 where we went to the platinum pocket up here as well. Why did my Fibonacci get? Oh no, we're good. Right here, we repeated the platinum pocket and then fell back down to the 0.382. Could we see the same thing happen? I believe yes. And the catalyst at this point that would make the most sense would be FUD of stablecoins. You are continuing to see Tether get put in the news as a potential manipulator of price. You're now seeing BlackRock and a lot of the ETF filing companies in their reports suggest that stablecoins potentially hold a threat against the stability and demand of Bitcoin. Why is that important, though? Well, recently, Gary Gensler has made it a very big deal. Why does he keep delaying and saying no to Bitcoin ETFs? His claim or his concern, he says, is the manipulation of Bitcoin price. Well, with everyone saying that stablecoins are one of the biggest things that could do that, I would not be surprised if these entities like BlackRock, like Fidelity, and others who really have control over the media don't go on a campaign of FUD. They want to dip the price. They want to see price come back down before the official launching, not approval, but launching of their ETFs. I think price dips down significantly with some scares that stable coins like Tether could be in trouble. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, the problems go away. Guys, it wouldn't even be the first time. We've seen stablecoin FUD before, but every time stablecoin FUD comes in the market, the price dips. And in this case, we're talking about a potential 45 to 50% dip in price. You might be saying, Tim, that's ludicrous. That's crazy. Well, we just did it back in 2019, guys. We just did it right here where we rallied up to 14,000 and then fell right back down to that 0.382, a 53% crash. Could it happen again? The answer is yes, it could happen. The real question is, will it happen? Let me know. Chat, do you think that Bitcoin could see a 40% pullback? Let us know right there. Now, let's talk about altcoins here for a little bit. Today, Ethereum is actually outpacing Bitcoin, up 1.2%, back up above some significant level here. Now, let's go here on the daily chart. You guys know that we discussed this rising triangle, ascending triangle here for Ethereum. And after kind of coming back up, wicking back above it here the other day, we're kind of still wrestling with it as resistance. If we can eventually get above this level, the price breakout is pretty high. It could send us up to this 32. I think actually the price breakout might be a little, it's going to be higher than that, guys. I'll tell you right now, this prediction here saying that we could see a $4,600 Ethereum. That's nearing all-time highs. Don't think that one's going to play out. But I do think there's a lot of people talking about a move towards this platinum pocket in 3,200 that is well within the cards. That's a little rich for me. I don't think that is going to happen. To me, I think if Ethereum does have a break to the upside following Bitcoin, it's much more reasonable to talk about the golden pocket area between 2,500 and 2,700. I think that's going to be something you see pretty commonly with altcoins, is either a rejection, depending on where they are right now, between that 0.5 level of Fibonacci and golden pocket. You're going to see the likes of like Solana, for example, who has not quite touched it. I know it looks like they have, but they got just short of the golden pocket. I think there's a chance it makes a move to the top of its range up at 78, but Solana not having a great day-to-day, down almost 6%. This happens, it's overextended. You're going to see more and more people want to take profits from Solana to move into coins like Cardano and others that have more of a room to the upside. Another one that's not having a great day-to-day, AVAX, down almost 7%. But that's, of course, because it's just been on a tear here recently. Let's see what it's doing in the Fibonacci levels. AVAX is one I think profits continue to move into. Why? Well, it hasn't even gotten back, and it's hard to see because it's scrolled way out here. It hasn't even gotten back up to its 0.382 level. I think AVAX is one that, despite the fact it's having not so great of a day today, we could see an even further upside coming for it. Its falling wedge pattern would suggest that a breakout could be coming with a price prediction closer here towards $30 almost. I think it could go a little higher, maybe even towards that 36, get up to the 0.5 level. Cardano, a fan favorite here on the Investing Bros channel, probably the most underachieving, most overextended price of them all. It has just sat here and kissed on the 0.236 level. Guys, even if we only get to the 0.382, like almost every other coin, we were just talking about it. AVAX, it's already come up. It's almost to its 0.382. Solana's almost to its golden pocket. Link is all the way up towards its 0.5. Ethereum, flirting right there with the 0.5, maybe makes the move to its golden pocket. Cardano, even if it only went to the 0.382, that would put it at a 60-cent price for Cardano. I made a video about that last week. You guys seem to love it. That's why I think there's going to be a lot of coins as Bitcoin makes its one more surge. Don't be surprised to see altcoins that have had big runs like Solana, like Chainlink. Maybe they take a little bit of a slower approach in this little rally. We see coins like AVAX and Cardano that have been lagging behind. They start to have a little more of a push. Money flows into them before the big pullback. I do think all of them are going to see significant pullbacks. We've talked about that before. Maybe in Q&A a little bit later, we can go into more details. I have been on a splurge recently. I don't think I'm going to put one out this week. I think I'm going to take this week off of price predictions, but I'm going to slowly but surely make my way through a lot of the top coins, maybe even some outside ones, making some price predictions, explain to you the rationale of what we could expect in the bull market, but also kind of looking at, hey, how far could these coins fall during their little dips? If that's something you guys like, and if you've liked the TA so far, now it is time for you guys to go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe if you have not already. T-Shroom, I do think this week is going to be a little more scarce. I think, with it being Thanksgiving week here in the United States, I think people, I know school's out already here in Georgia. So I think people are already going on vacation. If they're not, they're kind of finishing up some busy work at work, and then they're preparing to leave. I'm going to be leaving Tuesday night, tomorrow night, to be driving down to Florida. Can't get away from that state. We're going to spend Thanksgiving with Taylor's family. So I'm going to save some of those price prediction videos for next week when I think a lot more people are back tuned in. But that doesn't mean we can't discuss them a little bit here in the live show for the community. T-Shirt, what are you doing? What are you doing for Thanksgiving? We'll take a little break from crypto, and then we'll get back in with stories here in a second.
For sure. Well, for Thanksgiving, I'm just going to be spending some time with my family here in Gainesville, Florida. So you're going to be in North Central Florida as well?
Yeah, but I'm going to be like closer to Tallahassee. Like we're going to be in Greenville.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be doing. We've got our plans. We'll be carving some turkey.
You don't have to travel very far.
Nope. Just across the city.
Let's see here. We have some questions. We'll do some questions and then we'll get back in and do some stories. Gustavo Valos. I don't know how to pronounce that one, Gustavo. It says, Tim, if Bitcoin goes over 42, and it talks about 44 to 48, will it more likely to have that 40% drop? Yeah, Gustavo, good point. Here's the thing. Technically speaking, I would make the statement I think a 50% drop is possible from where we currently are. If we were to go back to my chart here, T-Shroom, let's go to Bitcoin. 50% drop from where we currently are. I'm going to just not do the math. I'm going to just go ahead and use the charting tool. But that still would not be a new low. That would bring us all the way back down to $20,000. 18.5 technically, but we'll go and just take it to a nice round number right there around that 20,000. That's possible. I think that's not probable. The difference between possible and probable is one of them is not likely to happen. The other one is. Now, just English language right there. I think it's improbable that we're going to drop below 25,000. To me, especially the fact that we had two big pullbacks that came down to that level and we could not set a new lower low here. I think 25,000 at this point, and I know this is crazy because like about a month and a half ago, I was the one telling you guys, hey guys, we're going to be going down below 20,000. Well, that was before we decided to set a new high. I thought we were going to be finishing this head and shoulders pattern. The scenario has changed, and I think whales and long-term holders have made it very clear they do not want to sell their Bitcoin. There's even retail investors right now that maybe aren't really that smart of money, but they're like, I'm not selling whatsoever. We're pumping to 50,000. I'm going to hold, right? So that's why it's so hard to go down right now is nobody wants to sell Bitcoin. Well, they'll create a scenario to cause some of the weaker hands to sell. But I think that what they're finding is like, hey, we got to pump the price a little bit more before that dip. We've got to take advantage of clearly there's not enough people want to take profit right now. Like when I say people want to sell, people take massive amounts of profit. They wait to buy and lower. I don't think that many people are taking as much profits as we think. I think they know they need to make one more good push up. Is that 40? Is that 42? Is that 45? Is it 50? But then they can allow a lot of take profit to then capitulate's the wrong word, to work in correspondence with some FUD articles. Then you maybe see BlackRock take a risk, Fidelity take a risk. They sell some of theirs in profit, obviously. But if they take profit, and a lot of whales are taking profit, and long-term holders are taking profit, and you throw in some FUD articles, maybe about Tether, maybe about something else, now you can convince some of the weak holders to start selling and selling and selling and selling and selling. And then you need to create liquidity at the bottom so they keep the negativity coming. And all the people that were still holding, maybe they can convince them to sell somewhere here between 27 and 25. To me, I think the long-term whales and holders, at this point, they're like, we've been in these roller coasters before. You can do whatever you want. We are not selling. We're waiting for the real bull market. And to me, I think we've seen enough on-chain data to say it's going to be really, really hard to drop price below 25,000. That's why I'm going to keep my range right here. I'm still predicting one more pump and then a pullback between 27 and 25. To me, that's my new bottom. Could things change? Could news come out and information come out that changes my opinion? They absolutely could. But for right now, until I see new information, I think a reasonable pullback is between 30, 32, someone just put is really good as well. I mean, there's a chance that doesn't get lost. But I could see a scenario with everyone saying 30, 32 that they make one more good push and get some people that thought they were strong-handed but are not to sell at 30,000. So yeah, Gustavo says thanks. Yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Well, Gustavo also said CME gap at 19.6. Yeah, it is, but that's just far. And again, those gaps are great as long as people are willing to sell down to them. Like I just said, I don't think there's enough people that want to sell for price to go that low. That's just what I've seen so far. T-Shroom, let's do this. Let's transition here. We're going to get in some stories because there is some stories involving another. I don't think it's going to happen, but Binance is another one. Could something bad? This story makes me think that it's not going to happen to Binance, and I know I'm kind of alluding to something, and it's in the title, so I'm not really, scaring anything. I'm not really hiding anything, but we're going to talk about a story that makes me think Binance is going to be safe moving forward. Very bullish for crypto. Another reason why I think price is not going to be dropping below 25,000. But first, we have to do our our daily trivia question of the day. Give me a second to get another sip. What do you have? What does the elf have for me today? Had a great record last week. Freaking kicked my butt in that trivia. And all things in history.
Absolutely. Well, we've got our factoid of the day, and today it's actually brought to you by Chart Prime. So Chart Prime has just released 3 new products: their screener, their new back tester, and also new market dynamics. These have released today. They're released today. There's a video on their YouTube channel you can go watch and get an understanding of this better. But if you actually go to the video that you're watching right now, this one that is live, you can actually.
Look at that guy!
You just
out of that cup.
You just scroll right on down, and you're going to be able to get the best discount right here on Chart Prime. 45% discount. You're not going to find a steeper discount than that in the crypto sphere, Tim.
It's true.
Changpeng Zhao, CZ, worked in what industry before he ventured into crypto? Was it
no idea.
high-frequency trading software, encryption development, silicon wafer manufacturing, propane and propane accessories?
I have no idea. I didn't know CZ existed before crypto was a thing. I thought he was only like 11 years old.
Yeah, there you go.
Encryption development seems too easy. Like, I mean, it feels like the obvious easy answer.
Interesting you'd say that.
Silicon wafer, unless a wafer is something I don't think we're talking about crackers here, right? Like cookie cracker things.
We could be. Tim's waiting on somebody to put something in the chat.
No, I'm not. I'm not even looking at chat. I'm actually not looking at chat. I promise. Scout's Honor. Was it? There's 3 of them.
Sure. While you're thinking, I actually watched Hunger Games for the first time this weekend with Amanda.
Was it good?
We watched yeah, I liked it. It's
Wait,
cool.
The first one, or you actually went to theaters and saw it?
The Hunger Games? Oh, there is a new one in theaters, I guess. Yeah. No, the first one. I'd never seen Hunger Games at all. All right. TikTok.
I know.
Burp, burp, burp.
Let's go with A. Why not? I mean, it's an easy one too. Let's go with high frequency trading software.
He's locking it in, folks.
He seems to have a wafers or chip tech, says Matt C. Oh, well, then that's making me lean towards C. But I already said A, and I'm gonna lock it in.
Locking it in.
Right. Yeah,
he's locking it in, folks.
I've never heard of silicon wafer manufacturing before, so
that's okay.
It's not okay, T-shirt. I need to do better.
It's not okay if it's the right answer. We'll see. Yeah. All right, we're going to move on here, guys, because we do have some stories. First of all, we do have this story here. U.S. seeks more than $4 billion from Binance to end criminal case from Bloomberg News. The possibility that the cryptocurrency exchange founder, CZ, would face criminal charges in the United States, the report says. So this would take it a step further to try to attempt to put CZ behind bars in these United States. That would be quite a sad outcome.
Yeah.
Especially if he's not found to be really doing anything wrong, just some silly financial crimes that the U.S. just can't let go. The DOJ probe is one of a string of legal and regulatory headaches the world's biggest crypto exchange faces in the United States. In June, the SEC sued Binance and Zhao, accusing them of operating an elaborate scheme to evade U.S. federal securities laws. Binance denied the SEC's allegations and said it would vigorously defend its platform. The Commodities Future Trading Commission, the CFTC, also sued the exchange in March for willful evasion of U.S. commodities law, alleging that Binance and CZ operated an illegal exchange and a sham compliance program. So there's a lot going on here. I think the biggest development is that CZ could potentially face criminal charges. We've known for years that the U.S. and many other regulators have it out for Binance.
Yeah.
They are, after all, a genuine alternative to the financial system. What their services offer to the established global financial system. Of course they're gonna be coming after them, and they have for about the last 5 years with serious resources.
They've been chasing him down. He just keeps holding up that 4, and
He does.
Was he just being prophetic, T-Shroom? Did he know it was going to take $4 billion to get him to, I mean, that's the other thing. It's like, are they looking for money now that they don't have their good buddy SBF to give them some money? So they're like, man, we got to find another way to get crypto money. Yeah. Let's prepare for the next, couple of years, because you can't just do this every old day. Let's ask $4 billion from CZ, and he'll support our political gain.
Absolutely.
That's crazy too. Here's the also thing that I know this is probably common. So before people are like, Tim, that's just how it works. Can we just, like, in case you didn't know this, it's good to be aware. They're literally saying, pay us $4 billion to stop investigating you for being a criminal. Like, we're not talking about like, hey, like, have you just like done this, like, hey, like, if you just want a lawsuit to go away, just pay us, we'll settle. No. These are criminal investigations, meaning they have accused him of fraud. They believe this man should spend a long time, if not his whole life, in prison. And they're just like, all right, we won't call you a criminal if you pay us $4 billion. Is that not pretty stinking jab? And again, I'm assuming this is pretty normal. There's probably a lot of people saying, Tim, this happens all the time. But that's just another tick into, listen, the American justice system, I still believe, is probably the best justice system in the world. But that's because we as people suck at justice. It's still, like, just because you're the best doesn't make you good. Didn't Churchill say democracy is the worst form of government except for all others that have been tried? His point there was like, democracy still sucks. It's just better than the rest. Well, American justice is terrible. It's just better than anything else we've figured out how to do, we as humans.
Right. I think the best justice system is right here on my hip, Tim.
Ooh.
Right here, ready to rock.
But, how about your fingers?
Yep. Here in America, where we have the Second Amendment, and it is the best justice system that I've seen. All right. Don't read it too far into that, guys. I'm just joking. The next story here is something we've alluded to as well. Tether freezes $225 million linked to human trafficking syndicate amid DOJ investigation. The syndicate is in Southeast Asia. And then there was one more detail here of note. Tether also froze 32 crypto addresses linked to terrorism and warfare in the Ukraine and Israel last month. So, Tim, this isn't the first time that Tether has been ordered to / frozen stablecoins. My view on this is that Tether is a private entity with humans clearly behind it, and humans can receive emails from regulators, and they have to act if they want to continue to operate. If they're using, I guess, servers in those countries, they didn't. In my opinion, they didn't have to do this. Obviously, it's extremely controversial. Here at the Investing Bros, we actually donate money to charities that solve the problems of human trafficking, that go out and try to help those people and provide them lives after they've been human trafficked. So far be it from me, far be it from us in this community to ever endorse human trafficking. Obviously, we're adamantly opposed to that. However, crypto is supposed to be free, right? It's supposed to be freedom and the ultimate, expression of freedom and freedom of speech. So, it's controversial. Again, I'm not saying that I'm taking a side here. I'm just pointing out that this is still a regulator coming to the realm of crypto, making an order, and that order being carried out because there are still humans involved in these crypto systems. Nobody can do that with Bitcoin. Nobody can say, hey, these addresses are associated with these crime syndicates. You need to freeze that Bitcoin. It's not that it should or shouldn't be done. It can't be done. It's like throwing a brick up infinitely into the sky. It cannot be done. So, Tim, throwing it to you. I mean, this isn't an easy situation to comment on, but what are your thoughts?
It's not easy, but it is. I mean, it's easy to give a stance on it, but I understand both sides of it. So let's break this down. Obviously, the end goal here, or the end situation, freezing the accounts of human traffickers, who I believe are the most, there's so much evilness in this world, but to do the types of evil that evil people do to children, I believe, and I'm going to say very sternly, I think there's a special place in hell for those types of people that commit that type of atrocity on children. Then you move into the terrorist side of it. You're like, hey, obviously we want to stop terrorism. We want to limit it. We want to, correct it. The problem is the loophole. The problem is, what does this mean down the line? Because while I think most of civilization could agree that this was a moral thing to do by freezing the accounts of human traffickers and terrorists, to be fair, what labels you these days as a terrorist? We've had people within the United States who were just trying to defend their freedom who were labeled as terrorists by the FBI or by the DOJ that, they weren't, but just because a centralized entity deemed them that and had control over certain things, or in this case, if they did have control of their money, could have shut down everything in a very unjust, immoral way, right? So while I'm on side of justice in terms of stopping human trafficking and terrorism, the slippery slope of having the centralized authority to shut down money is something that you might rejoice about today with this story, but then tomorrow when it comes for you, it will not be so fun, right? It's one of those things that really it makes you decide where are you in your stance of what crypto should be. If you just want the technology, because guess what? We don't need crypto. Crypto does not have to be decentralized. If crypto stayed decentralized, it still would move the world forward. We would still get things a lot cheaper. It would make transactions easier, faster. There would be a lot of benefits the world would see with centralized cryptocurrency, right? That's why projects like Solana are going to do so well. But if you got into crypto for decentralization, this story infuriates you because it is clearly still showing that cryptocurrency is under the power, at least Tether is under the power of centralized entities. And that's not a good thing for the future. That's something that does make you kind of lean towards going towards a Monero, going towards DeFi protocols, going towards things that have a lot of question marks about them. But it's like at least those things stay decentralized. T-Shroom, I don't think this is a good look for crypto. I understand why it's happening, and that's why it's not easy to comment on. But I think this is ultimately it boils down to this. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And despite the fact that the ends might justify the means, I'm not a person who believes that you should live your life by ends justify the means. You have to find a way to crack down on evil and crack down on crime while at the same time prioritizing the freedom of the innocent. And this move is one that jeopardizes the freedom of the innocent.
Yeah. And I think we're starting to see what was probably always going to happen, which is a new technology, encryption, right? Wrapped around scarce code, which is Bitcoin, right? And cryptocurrency, it deviating, right? There being one path of that being controlled by humans and another path where it be autonomous and not controlled by humans at all, permissionless, right? So there is clearly two paths here, and Tether and potentially Circle could be emerging as just central bank digital currencies, essentially. They're private, but they're under the thumb of a central bank digital currency, a central bank, right, or a regulator of that would treat these entities like Tether and Circle, which, if you don't know, operates USDC, treats these just how they would treat the Federal Reserve, right? They have influence and they can order things to happen in an executive way. So we'll see how it continues to develop. But there are still two roads. I mean, you literally can't do this with Bitcoin. You really can't do this with like a Cardano. You can't do this with a lot of other cryptos out there. Monero, one and there's many more that you can't freeze, right? It's not physically possible. It's not programmatically possible either. So it's interesting to kind of see this happen. One thing that kind of comes to my mind, and we have some positive news here in just a second, but just we have to linger on this because this is to some extent our responsibility, right? As whatever we are journalists, influencers. I don't know exactly where we are in the spectrum of commentary here, right? But if you're a criminal, you're more than likely you're not going to be able to experience the privilege of all that a government has to offer, right? Because what governments do is they provide stability. They provide stability, predictability, and peace, ultimately. That's kind of their responsibility, right? But that is still temporary. There's still the state of nature. There's still forces that are constantly trying to build, to grow, to overthrow whatever government you think you're getting stability from, right? So criminals have to live, they can live with one foot inside of the government, but and within the government's walls of stability. But a lot of times they have to live with the other foot outside, right? And that comes with a lot of volatility, right? So criminals more than likely are going to have to choose to store their wealth in more volatile assets that aren't controlled to be stable, right? So that's just one way to think about this from like almost a chaos theory standpoint, is that folks who are deviant, they're deviating from order constantly. They have chosen a life of deviation. They're going to be punished. Their life is going to be harder because they're going to have to be trading with currencies that are more volatile. It's one way to think about it. I don't know how helpful that is for the conversation, but it's one thing that's been coming to my mind. Let's get into the positive news, Tim, unless you had anything to add.
I was just going to say, I mean, here's the truth of the matter is we're getting down to the crux of what the justice system actually even wants, because crypto is really easy to trace criminal activity, which helps investigators or helps the law enforcement actually catch the criminals. The difference is it's hard to confiscate the money from them. So that's why they like when they do it in centralized systems. The best money to do crime in is still the US dollar. Fiat currency anywhere, literally. If you can get cash is the best way to commit crime. So to me, the problem here is with cryptocurrency is, and the problem the government has is like, oh, now we'll catch the criminals and we won't actually get to confiscate the money.
Right.
Yeah. That means it's less profitable for us to crack down on crime.
Yeah, well, we got some OGs in the chat, Matt C. and Crux of Crypto. Really good to see you guys.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's move into the more celebratory, positive side of crypto here, because it's not every day that we get a headline like this. The Lion, the Wig, and the Warrior. Who is Javier Milei, Argentina's president-elect? And this is AP, this is the Associated Press, showing that they have a lot of negative things to say, actually, about Javier, and we're not going to read any of them, right? But this is the big headline, right?
Oh, love the setup.
This picture almost showing him as like a unhinged, scary man. It's really sad to see that the media is already coming against him. He's only been elected for less than 24 hours. The good news is that the people who are on the right side of history are flocking to help Milei. Nayib Bukele clears team Bitcoin El Salvador to visit Argentina, Max Kessler. So several Bitcoin proponents, including Max Kaiser, I'm sorry, yes. Yeah. Several Bitcoin proponents, including MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor and BitMEX's Arthur Hayes and Elon Musk, congratulated Milei on his victory. Max Kaiser on November 20th asked El Salvador President Nayib Bukele for an official visit of the Bitcoin team to Argentina. He added that the team will invite new President Javier Milei to dine at the presidential palace here in El Salvador and talk about Bitcoin. Sounds like a fairy tale.
Is that a purposeful pronunciation? Are you a Malay?
Milei? How do you pronounce it? Milei?
Malay, yeah.
Milei?
No, Malay.
Max Kaiser revealed that President Nayib Bukele has cleared Team Bitcoin El Salvador to visit Argentina on a Bitcoin diplomatic mission of peace and economic freedom. It is like a Cinderella story. Almost done here with the details. Max Kaiser said, Milei victory can start a rally towards $40,000. Trading volume has increased after the big event and indicates a further upside move in Bitcoin price. Yay for Milei.
Yeah, I heard that in Argentina it hit a new all-time high. Now, a lot of that has to do with how crappy the Argentinian dollar is, and it's probably the reason why Milei got elected in the first place, because the people are freaking fed up with traditional politicians down there. I saw someone tweet out there, like, could Milei come be president here in the United States when he's done fixing Argentina? First of all, technically speaking, he cannot. He's not an American citizen. But we're seeing... I don't think he's going to be the last person of his kind to be elected anytime soon. I don't know what's going to happen here in the U.S. Honestly, I have my personal opinions about who I think is going to win, but it's still anyone's game here. But other countries where the economic woes are just piling up, I'm not going to be surprised to see more figures like Nayib Bukele, like Milei, be elected because of the outcry and the anger of the people. I mean, ultimately, what we're seeing happen in Argentina is the same thing we're seeing happen here in the United States. It's the same thing we're seeing happen in Europe. It's the same thing we're seeing happen in Asia and all across the whole world, is that the political leaders, even if they got in by democracy or democratic voting, they are stealing money from their people to pad their own pockets, but then they're lying to them by saying, oh, look, we're going to print more money to give to you. Well, you just print that money out of thin air. Printing fiat currency is literally, when you break it down to what it is theft. They are putting that money in their pockets. They're giving a little bit back to the people, but ultimately they're stripping every single dollar of its value. And the world is figuring this out, and they're getting fed up and they're getting sick of it, and they're going to start electing these radical people. And I say radical doesn't have to be a bad term, but Nayib Bukele is not a normal laid-back person. He is a radical. Milei is not a normal laid-back person. He is a radical. Here about 7 years ago, yeah, we elected a radical person here in the United States named Donald Trump. Now, he lost his re-election, but a lot of people think he's going to win this next one. My point is, when the world is falling apart because of the evilness of political figures like we are seeing, the radical people end up taking over. I think we've seen some times in our history of the world where radical people were good for the world. We've also seen some times where radical people were bad for the world. And I'm not going to get into the details because I also don't want to start any type of debate or YouTube getting in here and trying to decipher what we're trying to say and then shut that down. My point is, I think radical people are about to start taking global powers. Is it good? Is it bad? You decide. Are all of them going to be bad? No, I don't think all of them are bad. I think some of them will be. But this is what you get. When you steal from people for years, you end up getting the radical people voted in next. And to be fair, when it comes to Argentina, I'm loving this. I think Milei is going to be good for the country of Argentina. One of my favorite things, I don't know if you have it, that video clip of him going through all the board members that he's just getting. I don't know if he's just getting rid of the positions as a whole or if he's just firing the people that are in the seats. Either way, it was very humorous to watch him just ripping their names off the board. I can't wait to see what more of Milei Argentina looks like.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Tim, because I think I played it in this morning's video, and I'd be happy to play it again.
Oh, you did play it? Yeah.
Ministerio de Cultura, afuera.
Out.
Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera.
Afuera.
Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera. Aunque te resistas. Ministerio de Ciencia y Tecnología e Innovación, afuera. Ministerio de Trabajo, Empleo y Seguridad Social, afuera. Ministerio de Educación, Adoctrinamiento, afuera. Ministerio de Transporte, afuera. Ministerio de Salud, afuera. Ministerio de Desarrollo Social.
So some of those obviously dispensable, but Ministry of Health, that's one that's actually turned some head, raised some eyebrows. That Associated Press article that I was reading, they had a lot to say about that one. But that's an interesting. All of the majority of these governments are overly bloated, way overly bloated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So this is where it's going to be interesting to test just how libertarian some folks are, because that eliminating the Ministry of Health does give me a little bit of the creepy crawlies, like ooh, and that's where I remember maybe I'm not so much firmly libertarian in that sense. But it is. I mean, I think compared to the rest of Americans, I would fall squarely kind of in that libertarian camp. But I do think the government does have a role, right, in some, certainly in health and in regulating health.
Yeah.
Whether or not you need an entire federal department, that's I suppose somewhat more debatable than whether or not you need to regulate health. But anyway, Tim, overall, this, I completely agree with you, and I've been listening to a lot of commentators speaking today about how this is kind of the first big domino potentially to fall in a long line, right, of other dominoes. I mean, Donald Trump kind of being, pretty big, Viktor Orban in Poland being pretty big as well. And of course, there's tons of negativity associated with these people. They haven't been perfect throughout their whole lives. Right, and then there's also some pretty terrible terms that have been used to describe those two specific leaders that have been used to describe dictators in the past. So we're going to continue to see FUD. It's going to be fuzzy at best to be able to discern what is good, what is actual progress moving towards, a better future. But I have to say, when I see the crowd's reaction to Milei and his speeches, and I see him and his passion and his willingness to tell the truth just right in down the middle, right? Whether or not people are offended by it or not, whether or not it comes across as intelligent or not, I really admire it. And if you also listen, even through translation, you can tell that this man has studied, a lot of libertarian thought and theory, and that he's not messing around. He's got a lot going on upstairs. He's not just a figurehead, unlike a lot of politicians that could come to mind as well here in the United States.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to make a new portfolio video where every coin that I don't want in my portfolio, afuera. How do you say
afuera?
Is it afuera? Afuera. I don't know Spanish.
Afuera. Yeah, it's something.
Afuera.
Like yeah.
Afuera.
I was thinking I might just learn Spanish just so I can listen to Milei's speeches.
That's a route right there.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. We'll get some Q&A here, kind of wrapping up the show for the last 10 minutes. We got to get our answer to our factoid. Got to find out if I was right. Am I back in the winning? Am I back in the winning circle, or am I still on a losing streak against this freaking elf? As a drum roll to nothing. There we go. Okay.
High frequency trading software, Tim. You were right. You got it right, Tim. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud. I am a proud bro. Binance was founded in 2017 by Changpeng Zhao, a developer who had previously created high-frequency trading software. So there you go. Binance was initially based in China, then moved to Japan shortly before the Chinese government restricted cryptocurrency companies. All right. So there's a long and storied past of Binance, folks. This is definitely not their first run-in with state regulators, okay? They since the beginning, since 2017, one country or another has had a problem with the work of the hands of CZ, but every time he's just skedaddled right on out. And I believe they're headquartered in Malta now. I'm not really exactly sure. In fact, I think they may not be headquartered anywhere. So it's kind of interesting how they've been able to manage that. But personally, I don't think that they've done any. I think that they've absolutely facilitated, funding of criminal activity, but I don't think, definitely not any more than any other bank, establishment bank, J.P. Morgan, Deutsche Bank, HSBC. Like, I don't think any more proportionally, right? And so at the end of the day, I do think that they are good actors. I think that, of course, they have some blood on their hands because of the scale that they're operating in. But I think in the final analysis, no matter what happens, no matter what regulator, what judge rules in what way, given the information I have now at my disposal, I think that Binance are ultimately good actors or neutral actors, right? That's my position, just, with the limited perspective that I have, just the, what I've educated myself on. I just don't see, given the track record of how long CZ's been in the industry, it wouldn't add up, because we've seen so many come in, the SBFs, the Do Kwons of the world that come in, and, they get caught real quick, regardless of how big the organization is. Whereas CZ's been running this thing for a long time, and he's had to re-headquarter several times, which does look sketchy. But I think at the end of the day, he's the real deal, and I could be easily proven wrong by that because of, the industry we're in. You never really can trust someone 100%, but he does strike me as the real deal.
Yeah, and I think, whether he is or not, I think this is good news. I did hear, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, I heard that it wasn't just that the government asked them at this point. I think he's accepted. I think that they're just going to go and make the payment, and this whole thing will be over, which of course now removes, I was going to say, like, the scenarios to a crash in Bitcoin's price. Let's kind of go through them, that at least right now, that would not, in my mind, constitute being called a black swan event. They were somewhat predictable. It was a recession. Well, numbers recently have kind of really dwindled a potential recession, even a recession scare. That was the other thing. People were predicting a scare. Well, the numbers are moving in the wrong direction for a recession scare. So I'm going to kind of weed that one out. The second one was Binance.
The NASDAQ too. Nasdaq's just going straight up right now.
Exactly. And so Binance was the next one. A massive crypto exchange falls, right? Well, I didn't think it was going to happen to begin with, but of course there was that chance. But what we're seeing with this is like, all right, this just continues to drop the probability of them going after Binance. They could always go after another exchange, but I don't. What exchange could legitimately go after that would cause this? I mean, Coinbase, I think, would cause it, but they're not going after Coinbase. Binance, they're not going after Binance at this point. They look like they're going to come to an end there. My point is that leaves the last credible, at this point, rational reason for the price to drop would be stablecoin regulation or stablecoin FUD. When I say regulation, I mean like harsh. They start to rumor harsh regulation that really harms the crypto space. And so to me, that's my thought. I don't think anything bad's actually going to happen to stablecoins. I don't think we're going to see them go away, but I do think potentially scaring us about them and maybe having some legitimate thoughts that would keep that fear going is what's going to cause the next dip in price. And the reason I say that, by the way, guys, the reason the price is going to dip is not going to be because of stablecoins. The reason the price is going to dip is because it's time for the price to dip, and so whales and institutions can reload their bags at lower levels. But there's got to be an excuse, right? The excuse, in my opinion, is going to be stablecoins. And that's what everyone's going to look back at in 2023, 2024 and say, the reason that we had a 50% pullback in crypto was stablecoin fears. And in reality, we'll all know, no, it was because BlackRock wanted to buy cheaper Bitcoin. That was the real reason. So that is my soapbox for today. I've said it. I'm coming down. We have 4 minutes left. Let's talk about you guys. Let's talk to the community. What are you guys looking at? Dusty Hunt said this, all caps, this is the move of the day. What move? I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
He's probably talking about the market. Well, the markets are closing, and they've been, whenever the markets close, Bitcoin seems to pump. Is that happening today? Not really. I wouldn't say that Bitcoin's pumping right now, but
it was. Yeah, it pumped earlier today. It's not pumping right this second, but it was pumping earlier.
Yeah. Look, take a look at this picture, Tim. Have you seen kind of the chainsaw meme?
I have,
because he's
dangerous.
Yeah,
because there's definitely teeth on that. Like I've seen people like have the chainsaw without the teeth just for symbolism. That chainsaw could rip your flesh off.
Yeah, and it's intimidating, and I think it's very quickly striking fear into the hearts of those who know that their days are numbered working for the Argentine government. And maybe in a lot of other countries around the world, they're also thinking, oh, man, I might not be able to work here very much longer if there's a populist democratic uprising, right? Don't want to see anybody hurt. We don't want to see anybody physically hurt. We do have a good justice system intact for the most part. We have a system intact that is literally designed to try to transition bad governments out peacefully, right? That's what democracy is. Every 4 years, every 6 years, every 2 years, whatever it is, right? Governments, regimes can be replaced by a complete new group, right? That's selected by the majority. It gets a little more complicated with the party systems. But one thing I wanted to end on, Tim, and we've probably got some more comments, but this Chart Prime update, it looks really, really cool. I was talking to Piper about it. The scanner alone, but you got the backtester as well. The scanner alone is really, really sick, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that.
Yeah, I'm going to go watch that probably like as soon as this show is over. I'm going to watch that. I didn't even know there was an update today. They don't tell me things, I'm just kidding. They tell me. I just sometimes I'm busy and can't pay attention. Yeah, you guys know like Chart Prime has been since almost day one of the channel, which speaking of, I don't know how we made it all the way through the show and haven't talked about this. Guys, we are coming up on the 1 year anniversary of Investing Bros. It will be next week, next Thursday, the November 30th, the final day of November. We started this channel. A very humble beginning. You guys have been fantastic the whole time. We have been growing. We have some old friends, some new friends, but we're going to have some fun. Make sure you guys are dropping not only the comments down here, go to Discord, our free Discord, drop some ideas. T-Shroom and I have a couple of thoughts, but we want to celebrate with you guys. Just have a party on that day, a digital, virtual party. We want to know what you guys want to do for our 1 year anniversary coming next Thursday, the week after Thanksgiving. Chart Prime, I was going back to what I was saying. Chart Prime has been with us almost since day one. Not quite. I think there was probably about 2 or 3 weeks without Chart Prime. but they have been a big supporter of our channel. At this point, we've had different relationships with them. At one point, T-Shroom and I were working with Chart Prime, really helping with some content stuff. There is some cool stuff coming out in the future that even though we're no longer necessarily directly associated with Chart Prime, they're still close friends. We love them. The indicator, in my opinion, is still the best indicator in the entire space. Look for some more announcements coming with that. But if you guys don't have Chart Prime, go use our link. It supports us. It's the best deal out there. But ultimately, I'm not even telling you to buy Chart Prime just to help us out. Go buy Chart Prime if you are serious about charting. If you're serious about trading, it is the best indicator out there. I'm not lying to you. I'm not kidding you. I've seen and worked with a lot of them. There's some BS ones. There's ones that promise a lot. There's no such thing as perfection. So if you buy Chart Prime thinking you're going to be a perfect trader, no, there's no such thing. But if you continue to strap in and learn the technical analysis, if you continue to learn the fundamental analysis and watch the charts, there are key insights that Chart Prime has and ways they break things down that I've never seen any other indicator do it. You need to have it as a part of your investing plan. It's well worth the investment. Check out our link down below, and you will not regret it. If you guys have Chart Prime, I'll say this last as we go out. If you have Chart Prime, put a 1 in chat and briefly then say something about it. I've never heard anyone using Chart Prime and then gotten super upset with it. Every single person who has been using Chart Prime has been fully excited and felt like it was worth the investment. But with that said, yes, Matt just said, raise your hand if you were one of the first 100 subs. Oh, that'd be... Yeah, that was a long time ago. You guys have been fantastic. But with that said, guys, it's 4:01. It's time to go ahead and wrap out today's stream, our first stream this week. Again, this is going to be an interesting week because, of course, it's Thanksgiving. We're going to do a public show tomorrow, guys. This week, we probably are going to go ahead and take a week off of the private streams just because it is a week for us to relax and take time back. We will have Tuesday, and then we were not going to stream again until the following Monday. I know, we didn't have a Saturday show last week. We're probably not going to have a Saturday show this week unless T-Shroom decides he wants to do it. I'm not going to be back in town until Sunday. So we'll have some stuff tomorrow. I might even make some phone videos throughout the week. But make sure you guys smash that like button on your way out. Hit subscribe. Look forward to a lot more great content coming. 1 year down almost. Many more to come, and I cannot tell you how excited I am about the future of the bros. With that said, though, guys, you guys have a fantastic day, and we will see you tomorrow morning.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.